All right, so here are just 5 things I look for when I first have an opportunity brought to me. And these 5 things can quickly tell you where you stand on this deal and potentially whether or not there's opportunity to even dig further in. 1, is it in my core threshold? If I'm looking for a certain type of building in a certain type of area, is this completely outside my parameters? If I'm looking for a B assets built between certain years in certain submarkets and I get sent new construction that's 12 units in another submarket, I'm going to rule it out. There's number 1. 2, I'm going to match up the expenses. I'm going to look at the expenses and I'm going to see what they're qualifying as expenses and what their per unit expenses per year, because I've done my homework and I know what a property should operate at. And if they're basing their numbers on a per unit expense that's half of what it should be, I know I may have trouble getting this across the finish line, because now I'm going to have to go convince them that their expenses are way off, even if they're not doing it maliciously. 3rd, I'm going to look at the rent roll versus the T12. I'm going to see how they match up. I'm going to see where the numbers lie. I'm going to build it back, and I'm going to take the lesser of the 2. And I'm also going to look for anomalies there within the T12 to see if anything's happening, because you want to see if this rent roll that's recent, if it's completely escalated compared to the prior months. Because that can bring us to number 4. When looking at the rent roll, we want to see if there's been a massive lease up in the last month, because the owner is just putting anybody in the building right now to see potentially if they want, or just if they're putting it online. So they want to, of course, get the best numbers in there. So they're just putting anybody in there, and all those tenants are going to become your problems. So I want to see how many tenants have been put in recently, if there's been a big jump and big hurdle. And number 5, what would be number 5 would be reason for selling. Are they testing the market? Is there a partnership dispute? Is it their whole period is up? What could it be? So typically I'll look at those 5 parts right there. So again, we're looking, does this fit in the general area? What is the expenses per unit? What's the rent roll versus T12, the income right there? What's the actual rent lease ups recently compared to how many are month to month and year leases? And lastly what was number 5 again? But lastly, let's see if we can track this back, because I quickly tracked it off my mind there. Oh, of course, the most important thing. Why is the owner selling? If they don't need to sell, we're probably not going to waste our time, because ideally if they don't need to sell, they're just testing it out. They're probably just going to expect a price, especially right now, that's just not warranted. So we're just not going to waste too much time on it, and we'll probably just disband it and just go on to a new opportunity. All right, take some action. Let's do this.